Yeah, the title's true. Because I decided to download iPadOS 18, I quite literally bricked my iPad to the point of quite literal unrepairability. So let me explain how I did this. So go back to June 10th. We had WWDC. I was tweeting about it. I was super excited. And one of the softwares we got was iPadOS 18, which looked really cool, right? I'm excited about all the AI features and customization and stuff like that. So I downloaded it on my iPad Pro, and keep in mind this iPad Pro is a 11-inch M2 iPad Pro. And so I download it, and immediately I don't have any huge issues. Nothing really to report. A couple small issues. Editing videos is fine. I noticed, there would be some weird glitches in playback, but besides that, it for the most part was fine. No severe issues. And so I continued to use iPadOS 18 on my main device for, I guess, probably about a week. Again, with nothing crazy to report. But then I was like, I'm going to probably downgrade it just because it's fun to use, yeah, but it is making my ability to work and edit videos and do all this stuff a little bit harder to do, just because, audio kept glitching out, it kept crashing, there was it made it very difficult to edit and made my process a lot slower, which is an issue for me. So a week later, right, I'm like, all right, let's downgrade it. I'll maybe when future betas come out, I'll use them instead, but this one right now is just not quite for me yet. So I plug it up to our computer just as I've done every other device, and it starts the process, right? You plug it into the Mac, you open up Finder, and you click Restore, right? It gets rid of all your data, so keep that in mind. If you do try to restore any devices, it'll delete all your data, so have a backup. But I click Restore, and it does the normal process. It starts downloading the software and then extracting it from my iPad. But every single time before it got to the segment of writing software onto my new iPad, iPadOS 17, it crashed. There would be an issue. Every single time I either got an error, specifically I got a 2006 error, and then I also got a file corrupted error. Now, I don't have a ton of pictures and stuff. I have a couple, so I'm just gonna try and work with it best I can. But every single time I would get one of those two errors, and I tried it on multiple Macs. I used multiple cables, and every single time it gave me either a 2006 error or it gave me a file corrupt error. Now, if you don't know, these errors are listed in different numbers, which mean different things. So the 2006, for example, I was told was a connector issue. So whether that is the charge port in my iPad, the USB-C dock, or the USB-C dock in the Mac, or the cable, something's going on with one of the connectors, which was very weird because I've never done anything to any of it, so I don't know why it would be acting up, but that's what 2006 meant. But anyway, errors aside, when I would try and do it, it wouldn't work, and it would boot it back into iPadOS 18, so I didn't really make it anywhere. Now, the weird part was, so I tried this multiple times, but then eventually it got to the point where I no longer could get it out of recovery mode either. And if you don't know, recovery mode is where you, like on my iPad, you press the volume up button, press the volume down button, and then press and hold the power button while connected to a computer up until you see the, restore screen, where it shows like a cable and then the Mac. And the weirdest thing was, I would continue to try and get these errors, but eventually the iPad wouldn't even come out of recovery mode either. And so now it's stuck in recovery mode, and I keep getting these errors. So it's like, oh, what the heck now, right? I can't even use the iPad anymore, because at least I was able to use it, right? It was on iPadOS 18, but at least I could use it. So I tried for multiple days and have basically no luck, right? It's stuck in recovery mode. I can't even, I can't hard reset it. I can't soft reset it. I can't connect it to the computer and restore it. It's the definition of not working. So eventually I decide to text Apple support, and we try and do some stuff, but of course, because I can't get into it, I can't allow them to run any diagnostics or anything like that, so we kind of reach a dead end. So then I decide to call Apple support, and they hook me up with one of their technicians. and I allow them to kind of do whatever they need to do. You know, we plug it up to the computer. I give him access to the computer so he can see what I'm looking at, and we run through it, and it gives us the same exact error. So then he's like, okay, I think you're gonna have to go to the Apple store and allow them to take a look at it. So I book an appointment. You know, it's 4 days later, so at this point I've gone about a week without an iPad. It has not worked, so I've not used it for an entire week. Which did make it very hard to get videos and stuff out. So we go to the Apple store, and I allow them to, you know, hook it up to their computers and do whatever they need to do. And the first thing it does, even on their computers, on their software, is give the same 2006 error. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? Like, what's going on, right? And so, you know, the lady, you know, she's nice. She's like, you know, I'm not gonna waste your time. I had somebody like this come in with the same issue like yesterday, and we couldn't ever get a solution. So I'm like, okay. So basically what she says is the entire iPad's gonna need to be replaced. In other words, it's unrepairable. Dude, I don't know. I find that hilarious. I don't know. I really don't have any answers. I should have asked, like, is there any idea, like, what exactly happened? Because the software kept saying it was a connector error. But then part of me also thinks it's because I downloaded the beta that it messed up like this. But either way, she's like, yeah, it's unrepairable. And at that moment, I'm like, oh, holy crap. What am I going to do now, right? Like, I need this iPad to work, and you know, I'm a kid, I'm 16 years old. I don't exactly have the money just to go out and buy a new iPad if I needed one. But this is the crazy part of the story. So the lady basically says it's completely covered because we bought Apple Care back when I bought this iPad. The entire iPad was completely covered. And what's crazy is, so I bought the iPad, my parents bought Apple Care, and I had told them at the time too, I was like, hey, I don't need Apple Care, because like I'm not the kind to drop or break any of my devices. You know, I carry a phone caseless all the time, I never drop it. It's good on my end. But my dad buys Apple Care, you know, last year, and I'm like, I don't think we're gonna need this, right? I don't think it's that important. But sure enough, it was very important. It's because of Apple Care that a year later, when my iPad is unrepairable, it's completely covered. And I think that's fantastic, really. And so basically she's like, yeah, it's completely covered. It'll be replaced. You'll get a brand new iPad Pro. You know, it'll be not like the M4. It'll be a replacement of the same model as my iPad, but just like a refurbished, you know, by Apple refurbished one. So it basically just feels brand new. And so she's like, yeah, it'll take 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 business days, and there will be no extra charge whatsoever. So I'm like, oh, okay, dang, awesome, great. So I get a call basically the next day from Apple saying, hey, your iPad's ready to be picked up. So I go to the Apple store. I bring my old iPad, the one that's still stuck in recovery mode and unfixable. And she's like, yeah, man, just come in, you know, bring your ID. So I come in with my ID and the iPad. I give her the old iPad. She gives me the new iPad to set up. And then she just walks away. Like, she didn't check my ID. There was no, you know, card involved. Like, she gives me the iPad, she just goes away, and then I'm just free to go. So it was a very easy and simple exchange, and I'm so incredibly thankful we had Apple Care when we bought it, because I did not know it would become as important as, well, it did now. But that's really the story, guys. I do have a new iPad Pro now, and I'm using it just like I used my old one. I'm very, very glad we got Apple Care, because it really came in clutch there. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, as it helps me out a ton. And I look forward to see you guys in the next one. So yeah, bye guys.